For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewis since the Sandbox.
What's up, everybody?
Whoa, what a way to start the episode.
I know.
That just caught me off guard.
Listen, guys, Kev just shit his pants. It stinks. So we're going to try to run through this as fast as possible. But we have NFL draft this week. Thursday, it's going to be a huge day. We're going to have so much content on it.
Yes,
Mock
sir.
draft after this. But we're going to tell you guys what teams we're confident in and not so confident in this draft. And I'm going to kick it off with the team I'm confident in. It's the boys in blue. Those Colts. Come on, man. We haven't missed yet. We won't miss. Number 21, it's in the bag. Come on.
What are you looking for, Lou?
Corner or O-lineman or an edge rusher. Anything but a wide receiver and a tight end.
Okay.
F them. I don't want them. That's what the second round's for.
Anyone specific?
Vera Tucker or Caleb Farley.
Yeah.
Or J.C. Horn. That's my guy.
You've been very high on Vera Tucker throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, a team in a franchise that I'm really confident in the whole draft coverage throughout the draft process. I feel like both of these teams have really played their cards the right way throughout. Lou, we were just talking about this a little bit before the episode. The Ravens, for sure.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
We were just talking about the trade they did recently with Orlando Brown. And, guys, we have to keep in mind that's for a left tackle that didn't want to play for them. The fact that they could get a first-round pick out of that, and now they can get a top offensive talent, top defensive talent, really build. And that's a team that successfully builds through the draft year in and year out. We see that, and that's how their franchise is made. And then the Dolphins, I mean, they really have the flexibility and capability over the next 3 years to pick anywhere they want because of the draft capital, the depth, and the coaching on their team, honestly. So we're starting to see, Brian Flores and the Joe Judges work out and actually have successful parts to that Belichick coaching tree. We'll see a little bit more about Joe Judge this year, but all the tools are provided for him, and everyone's talking good about them. But yeah, the Dolphins and Ravens, I think those two organizations handled the draft process so far very well as of recently, and that goes to show why they're successful franchises the past couple of years.
Yeah, so my team that I'm confident in, the San Francisco 49ers, and I feel like the reason why is we know who Jacksonville's going to go with, right? I think we all know. I'm not going to say it, not going to spoil it, but we all know.
Who, Kevy Lawrence?
Kevy Lawrence, Kevy Minshew, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But, Jacksonville, we know what they're going to do. And then the Jets, I mean, I don't care if we know or not. I'm never going to be confident in the Jets when it comes to any kind of football move in general. And the 49ers got the third pick, and they made it clear that they're hunting for the quarterback position. And, in a draft that's quarterback heavy, you got to think that they're going to make the right pick, depending on who's left, with that third pick, and depending on what the Jets do, and God forbid the Jaguars throw a wrench in the draft, which probably isn't going to happen. But in a quarterback heavy draft and a team that's, obviously shopping around for a quarterback, tend to think that they're going to make the right pick.
Yeah, I feel you. And,
I like that.
That's a team I feel like that's always so reputable, and that's why I think there's a lot of pressure on this move for the 49ers.
Johnny Lynch kid.
I just think it's so hard to sit here, and the whole time I feel like the whole thing was out with Mac Jones, and that's why I kind of was on the side of thinking it was too good to be true, because it was the worst kept secret ever. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I might still be thinking Trey Lance. We heard that they narrowed out Justin Fields, and that's so surprising to me. I was just talking about Justin Fields possibly being the best quarterback in this draft, and that's over Trevor Lawrence. But definitely depends on that scenario. Maybe if Justin Fields goes to New England, I mean, that could be a match made in heaven. Going back to our podcast episode.
What?
But let's talk about a team that I'm definitely worried about as far as a franchise and a draft goes. And guys, the Texans. Definitely. Imagine not having any control over your franchise right now. And not only that, not having a first or second round pick. They're one of the teams with the least amount of draft capital in this draft. Mm-hmm. And they have nothing to do to control their future. So I would not want to be a Texans fan right now. I'm sorry if you're a Texans fan and you're watching. Hoping that Deshaun Watson scenario figures itself out, but I definitely think if he's a player that doesn't want to be there, you definitely shouldn't have moved him for all the draft capital that once could have been and now you might not get anything at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sucks. He's going to have to stay. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to touch him. He's like got the bubonic plague
Yeah.
as far as trade value. But the team I'm worried about is the Steelers. Just
Wow.
because there's reports coming out that, like, they're going to draft a running back in the first round.
Najee.
And it's like, why does that ever work?
Yeah.
Like, your quarterback is 100 years old. All of your wide receivers suck. They all suck. I don't want to hear anything about Juju, Deontay Johnson. They all just suck. Chase Claypool's good, but, like, he shows up once or twice a game. Like, and is he really going to be the guy to bail out Big Ben in, like, a bad situation? Like, you need some extra help on the O-line. You lost a linebacker in free agency. And, like, you can't throw to anybody. And Eric Ebron's the tight end with his butterfingers getting older. So I just think there's way more needs, and you can literally get, like, a Javonte Williams
Kyle
in
Pitts
the second round.
to Pittsburgh. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be awesome. No, I'd love that. I'd love that play on
But
this.
I just think that they're going to screw it up by taking a running back so late when they could literally just trade back and get more capital or trade up and try to get someone better at the position. I don't understand.
We see
it.
teams do it every year, Lou. Every year.
Look where Dallas is now.
Yeah, so coming in hot here. No
Oh.
pun intended, because it's a warm weather climate. But the team I'm worried about, and you guys can call me crazy, but I'm worried about the Dolphins. And I think I'm worried about the Dolphins because I feel like, in my opinion, they should draft a wide receiver. And I feel like
And a QB.
well, that's where I was getting to. I feel like they're either going to be tempted to go defense, or if there's a good quarterback that falls to them, they might pull trigger on it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Tua is their guy going into the season, but we're still not sold on the fact that he's going to be their guy. So I feel like this year you should draft a wide receiver. You know, somewhat the top name wide receiver you can get with your pick. Exactly. Give Tua a year, and then you can say, okay, this isn't the guy. As opposed to if there's a quarterback there with your pick that you want and you take him, it's like you're still back to zero. You know what I mean? You still have no one to throw to. Like, it's all that. So I feel like go out and get the receiver. Get the sure thing. Give Tua a year. If Tua's not good, you either trade or draft next year or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm worried. I feel like they know they need a wide receiver, but I'm not necessarily sure that they're planning on picking one. You know what I mean? But we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
But they could realistically get both. You get Jamar Chase at 6, and then you could get a QB at, what are they, 18?
Yeah.
There's going to be
That's
someone
true.
there at 18. And,
That's
like,
true.
next year's quarterback draft is that Kev could be in it.
But
No, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. And I think that if Miami was sold on drafting a quarterback in this class, that they probably would have just stayed home at their pick.
right.
In all honesty. So I think with them moving back and them trading back in, they'll know that there'll be that run on quarterbacks, and they'll be able to draft a top 3 prospect outside of the quarterback position in this draft. On top of getting all those other picks that I'm sure will be great defensive players and interior offensive line players for that Miami Dolphin team. And whether it's Pitts or Chase, any offensive playmaker for the Miami Dolphins will be a great player.
Yeah.
And not that Gesicki isn't already good enough at the tight end, but he's not good enough to stop you from drafting Kyle Pitts.
Exactly.
And especially if Kyle Pitts is talked about with the radius of Darren Waller and the skill and ability of Julio Jones and this and that, whatever it is. You know, if you have that regard, go and get him, and he'll be able to play on Sundays. And with Tua just going into his second year, I think they'll have a little bit more of a leash, and especially like we just talked about getting all those picks, they can have the capital to move up next year or move back next year and vice versa for the year after. You know what I mean? So definitely all interesting to see how it works out. Teams that I am on the fence on. I have 2 teams here that I really wanted to talk about. And these are 2 teams that had, one team that had 4 picks in the top 85, and I'm really on the fence about them. The Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm really not sold on what the Eagles want to commit to going forward. And it's kind of hard to sell to NFL fans, too. You have Jalen Smith last year, you draft him, he's going to be a long-term plan. Carson Wentz doesn't work out last year, you toss Jalen Hurts in. Jalen Hurts is in a scenario to win a ball game, you pull him and put in a third guy that isn't going to be on your team this year. Just doesn't really make sense, and then the whole offseason goes by, and you're sitting here eating dead money from salaries that you tried to hang on to from a Super Bowl. It just doesn't really give me confidence going forward that the players that they're going to draft now or the players that they've been drafting have worked.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm on the fence with the Eagles. And the NFC East is getting good. And if they're not going to stay up to par, because they've been pretty solid. I mean, especially in the NFC East. They probably had 5 division titles in the past 7 years, to be honest. But the other team, the Lions.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
This is another team that's going to be eating a crazy amount of dead cap this year. Have a quarterback that they traded for, but they're not committed to that quarterback. Mm-hmm. Have future draft picks that can be for a quarterback, but right now they're just going to draft players for Dan Campbell's system, whatever that may be. And I'm still not sold on Dan Campbell being the guy that's going to be able to develop a quarterback if that was to come into the situation one day. So I'm a little confused on the direction of both of these teams, and where they decide to draft is definitely going to be telling. But I'm definitely on the fence with the Lions and the Eagles.
Yeah, I hear that. The two teams that really scare the shit out of me, honestly, because I think they could blow it, Chicago and Dallas. Because I think Dallas could trade up and try to get Kyle Pitts, which is a huge mistake because you have no defense at all. Everyone that you paid on defense just doesn't play well. Like, where's Jalen Smith now? Like, what is that dude doing?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
I mean, their secondary's awful, so you need to get a cornerback or someone in the secondary. But they're going to try to go up and get Kyle Pitts, which I think is a huge mistake. Even though he's great, I just don't think that's the need. And then with Chicago, why they haven't traded up. Like, they should be in the position the Eagles are in right now, where they're up in the top 12, where they have a chance to get a decent quarterback, and, like, they're going to hope for, like, Kyle Trask now, or hope Justin Fields falls into oblivion. And, like, you have Andy Dalton and tons of money. Like, Khalil Mack, like, has been somewhat worth it, but, like, you have him, dude. Ton of guys on the defensive side coming up for contracts. Allen Robinson's gone next year no matter what because he's not staying. Yeah. And just like, you know what I mean? They really screwed it up, and they're just going to try to add good players to the roster, but it doesn't matter if they don't fill in the holes. Like, if you have 4 great linebackers, it doesn't really matter. You can only play 3 at a time. Like, come on.
Absolutely.
That's true. Yeah, and the team I'm on the fence about, a little bit of a stretch, but Big Vin, if you're listening, had to bust your chops a little bit, and that's the Jets. And the only reason I'm busting chops is because we know the Jets' history. Like, if there's one team that could mess this draft pick up, it's the Jets.
I wanted to put the Jets down for one of these two, but I was just like, even if I put it, I already know what's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a sure thing that, like, we all can assume who they're going to get.
It's the second pick, though.
Exactly.
That's the make or break.
Right. Yeah. And it's, but
that's where it starts.
It's the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No, definitely. And, I mean,
like I said, I am never going to have confidence in the Jets.
No,
in any kind of front office football moves ever.
Listen, the Knicks are good now, so anything's possible.
Now the Yankees suck, though.
That's okay. These things come and go.
But not the Jets. The Jets.
Not the Jets.
Stay
the Jets,
yeah. So we'll just wrap it up with that, guys. Make sure you go to Since the Sandbox Podcast. Guys, go check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. Listen to our mock draft. Me and Lou about to run it down. Picks 1 through 32. You guys know the deal. Make sure you're listening for the Giants at 11. The Colts at
21.
21, guys. The best 2 picks of our mock drafts. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, and put that notification bell on. We know you guys like this video. Definitely had our confidence meter fun here with the NFL. And make sure you check out our NBA confidence meter with our teams going into the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
Go to sincethesandbox.net. You know your boys just updated that website. And you know that episode 250 is coming up real soon.
Wow.
Imagine.
Flying by.
Peace out, guys.
For all things gridiron and hard top, it's Kevlu and Steve since the Sandbox.